Good afternoon, VCV, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram fans. This is the CEO from Veterans Council Veterans. Excuse me, should edit that out. Veterans Council Veteran. I have a special broadcast I want to give to you. Veterans Council Veteran is about ready to do I have our August 24. We're going to do our serving of elderly veterans. And I find that I feel like the elderly veterans are something that has been left behind. I've seen a lot of programs and grants and stuff for the post 9/11 GI Bill and the veterans, but I don't see much about the elderly veterans. The elderly veterans by law is 60 and older. So before I go on, I want to you're gonna hear a lot of information. This is something I'm gonna do once a week. But until then, I always gotta do my intro. So let's stay tuned for my intro. Yes. Good afternoon, everybody on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn. So Veterans Council Veteran is going to have our own conference. It's called Serving Our Elderly Veterans. And like I said earlier, elderly veterans is constitute from 60 and older. And Florida actually have over 700,000 veterans over 65, not including 60, but over 65. And of those 700 veterans, 42 of them are women veterans. And so that's a unique thing we got to look at because they all have different needs. Most of the statistics we see out there are for the post 9/11 veterans and not for the actual Vietnam, Desert Storm, and some who are around for the Korean. What I want to show you something real quick as we get into the mood of what we're going to be talking about for the next 15 minutes. So in that little small video, somebody must have saw somebody that they knew, right? Somebody, it could be your mother, could be your father, uncle, brother, but somebody you knew that who's caring for them. What are the resources for veterans who are 60 and older? And that's what I thought, and this is personal to me because my dad, who's 87 years old, he's retired Army combat veteran, and he's staying in the Veterans VA in Wilmington, Delaware. And I've learned so much. And I said, one first thing I realized is how much do we really know about the resources that are available to our elderly veterans? What's out there for them? Long-term care, short-term care, health. And then one thing people don't know is that Florida veterans that are dying by lead the nation in suicides when it comes to elderly veterans. From 60 to an older, Florida is leading the nation when it comes to dying by suicide. And the reason why elderly veterans choose suicide is not the same reason oftentimes of the younger veteran. Elderly veterans, my dad's 87, he's lost almost everybody he knew, including my mother, he has lost. So he really feels by themselves. Burden, they feel like a burden. Oh, please, can you please help me? Burden. And that helps out. Pain, the body goes through its changes, no longer young anymore. There are a lot of things that the elderly veteran has to go through that really thinks about, So we got to do something about it. We got to let them know about these resources. We got to be out there taking care of our veterans as well. So don't let them, some people, I see my daddy's in Delaware. Take the time. Don't take it for granted. You never know when that time is up, and you want to make sure that you've done what you had to have done or could have done in doing that. So first thing what I want to do is I want to see who else is talking about this, and I need you guys to sit there and contact your Congress because they're involved as well. And I want to show an introduction. There is an AG committee, Senate AG committee, and they met in June 5th. And I want to give you a quick quick intro to that.
Welcome to our first joint hearing. This joint committee hearing, this Congress, entitled Heroes at Home, Improving Services for Veterans and Their Caregivers. It's been more than a decade since the Aging Committee held a joint hearing, and I want to thank Senator Tester and Senator Moran for bringing together our two committees today to examine the important issues and unique challenges faced by veterans and their caregivers. I also want to note that Senator...
So I thought was interesting. So he said it's been over a decade since they last had their committee, and that don't make no sense to me because I even seeing we can see today of our veterans up there who are the Congress people who are dying, who are not dying, but some are dying of aging. So aging is not just I just thought about it. This is affecting us in every stretch. So civilians are aging, military is aging, and they just now having their meeting on that. And I thought that was interesting. So we need to do more, and you need to contact your congressperson. So they have a Senate committee for Florida. We have two who are on the aging committee. We have Senator Marco Rubio. He is on the aging committee, and we have Senator Scott. So if you're from Florida, contact them and find out and tell them you care about what's going on with the elderly veterans, because that could be your mother, your father, your sister, your uncle, your brother. It sounds like a military slang, but it's somebody that we may know. So that I thought was interesting. And I want to hear another question that was given by Senator Scott.
So turn next to Senator Scott.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Ganga, how does your facility assist veterans and their caregivers when the veteran wants to remain in the home but still needs some additional support?
So our adult day healthcare program is
and one thing that's one of the questions we're going to have at this conference. So what resources out there for a veteran that can still have their dignity, still have their independence, and be able to sit there and go to the VA or whoever they got to go to when they have the illness. And so they have an adult day. We had one guy mention about adult daycare. You're going to hear about the adult daycare as well as Florida also. So that's one of the questions. Here's another question that we should be asked.
So turn next to Senator Scott.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Ganga, how does your facility assist veterans and their caregivers when the veteran wants to remain in the home but still needs some additional support?
So
still need additional support.
Welcome to our first joint hearing, this joint committee hearing, this Congress, entitled Heroes at Home, Improving Services for Veterans and Their Caregivers. It's been more than a decade since the Aging Committee held a joint hearing, and I want to thank Senator Tester and Senator Moran for bringing together our two committees today to examine the important issues and unique challenges faced by veterans and their caregivers. I also want to note that Senator Scott, a member of our Aging Committee, will be serving as the ranking member for the Aging Committee hearing today that's part of this joint hearing, and I'm grateful for his leadership in acting in that capacity. Our conversation today is particularly timely given that tomorrow is the 80th anniversary of D-Day, commemorating the Allied invasion of Normandy during World War II. We thank those service members who fought on that day, and obviously just saying that doesn't convey anywhere near the depth of our gratitude for all that they did to save our country and to literally save the world. And we, of course, extend that thanks to those who are serving today, all members of the armed forces, for the work they do every day protecting our nation. Veterans and their families make great sacrifices to serve our country. Our duty as members of the Senate is to provide support to those who serve our country. We must provide...
I want to comment what in Casey said. Our duty is to provide services and make sure we have not forgotten those veterans who have fought and died for this country. And as they get older in age, and they need to continue to care. And we got to we got to hold them to the fire by talking to our congresspeople. For me, it's Florida. It's Senator Rubio and Senator Scott. And those out there from Tester and over, please constantly don't let them forget about the elderly veterans, because again, in fact, I'm 62 years old. So I mean, what used to be elderly, it's getting more and more. We're actually getting a higher demographic. So what are we doing about this? So I want to do quick before I sign off. I want to do a little quick update on what we're doing for this conference. Let me bring in the slides up here. And so, as you see, you can see there's a little cutoff there. Our Elderly Veterans Conference is on the 24th of August. It's from 8 to 4. It's gonna be in Tampa, and it's gonna be at the Egypt Shriners Club. And if you look at that tag or HDL in there, tag onto Veterans Council Veterans, go into events, click into the elderly, and you'll see how to register. We're obviously looking for sponsors and vendors as well. One of the things I mentioned earlier is that over 700, Florida has over 719 veterans in Florida who are 65 or older, not even counting the 6-year-old. And of them, 677,000 are males, and then 42,000 are females. So demographically, what are we doing? Make sure we have the resource to match that. Florida Department of Veteran Affairs, one of their responsibility of many, one of them is also benefit, is they have over 9 nursing homes, and hopefully we'll have some of those leaderships on our guest speaker as we continue marching toward this conference. And I just showed you some of the snippets, and we'll see every now I have a broadcast. Every Tuesday at 2 o'clock, you will get some more updates and guest speakers to talk about what they do, so we get more and more informed. So when we go to the conference, you'll have a little bit more understanding of what we're trying to do at this conference. Finally, I want to talk some of the topics, and then if anybody who, please put in the tagline, email me, whatever, if you think there's a topic that you think is very important that we may have missed. And we want to make sure we have the dialogue with the community, and you are the community, to make sure that we get the right topics that are coming up. You can imagine when you talk about elderly veterans that the whatever you can think about it is a problem, from homelessness to affordable housing, healthcare, just a lot. So we can't cover it all, but this is what we're going to cover from the conference coming up. We're going to talk about the long-term and short-term care that are available, both from the VA, but also the Florida Department of Veteran Affairs. They have nursing homes, and also the community. So we're going to talk about the long-term, short-term care, VA, and benefits. We're going to talk about some of the benefits that are more specific for the elderly, and what happens if you didn't have any service connected when you were younger, but as you're older, something starts happening. And what can you do to sit there and capture that when you didn't experience when you were younger? We're going to talk about legal. We're looking at, so one of the things I found out with my dad too is that, hey, make sure you get a will. Get a will. If not, if there's no will, the state gets the money. Living power of attorney, and also a power of attorney. Those are important as well. So you got a lot of medical hospitals have what they call power of attorney, where you can decide some of the medical procedures that may occur with your loved one if he or she is not able to exercise that. So that's very important. And then the power of attorney. PACT Act. Everybody hears so much about PACT Act, but the PACT Act includes toxic firemen. That includes Vietnam, and that includes Desert Storm, and the Gulf War, and not just post 9/11. So you need to learn. We're going to tell you about some of the stuff that came out that may be germane or relevant to the elderly veteran. Family support. What can we do? What can we do with the family? How does the family support the elderly veteran? That's a big one, because most people who are supporting the veterans, they know this much about the VA and what is available to them. So at this conference, you're going to learn more about what things are available for that loved one as you start to navigate. And I'm telling you, it can be difficult. Caregiver. We're going to talk about the caregiver. VA's got a caregiver program that can provide some stipends for that caregiver, but you need to understand, what does it take to be qualified to be a caregiver? What is all the things you got to know and not do? And we're gonna have a conversation about that. So definitely, if you don't want to know anything about caregiver, this is the place to be on the 24th of August at our conference. Homeless and elderly veterans. So that's another one. So so we got a lot of homeless veterans that are out there. We also got the income. A lot of these veterans are working off of one income, one pension, and they can't afford the housing. So what are we doing about that? So you're gonna learn that and more. So if you have any suggestions, any recommendations, let me know, and we'll make sure we put it in there, because it's all for you and not for me. Finally, I think it's so important. Registering is for free. So if it costs nothing to register. It costs nothing to share. Share. It costs nothing, and you don't know who you're helping by sharing. I don't know how many people have come up who sit there and says, "I'm not a veteran, but my dad is a veteran. My mom's a veteran. you're still just as important. You're just as important. So you don't know who it is, but share. Just click the button that says share, and you may be helping out a veteran and a family who has to go through this. So what I'm going to do is to get some updates. You see there, we're going to start doing weekly updates starting today, 25th. But every week we're going to have a weekly update on what's going on. How as we get forward, we're going to talk about a little topic that we think is relevant to the VA, and we're going to have guest speakers. So if you're a sponsor, you want to sponsor, and you want to be part of this streamline, you can be a sponsor just for the silver. If you pay for silver, which is $500, you could be on my show, and I'll give you 3 minutes to tell everybody out there. And I got almost 15,000 connections on LinkedIn. Okay, 15,000. Okay, so that's national. So you want to get your word out. People know what you do, especially if you cover more than just one area. You get to go silver. You'll be able to get on my show, silver and gold. You'll be on my show starting next week. So let me know. Come on our show. Spread the word. Whoo, this is a lot. But I tell you, this is something the Veterans Council of Veterans. This is another way of taking care of our community. It involves the whole community. It's not just one element. It's going to be the state, the federal, and the community out there that are providing services for our veterans that they don't even know about. And by doing that, you're really saying, instead of saying thank you for your service, you're actually doing something. I just don't talk about it, but be about it. And being about it is share. It's like just share this. Share it. On 24th of August, 2024 at the Egypt Shriner. Whew. All right, thank you very much. Again, this is an update. This is Tony Williams from Veterans Council of Veterans. We're talking about our upcoming Elderly Veterans Conference in Tampa on the 24th, 8 to 4. Easy to do on a Saturday, 8 to 4. Learn, and it'll empower you. Our three main words is educate, connect, and empower. By you being educated, by you being connected, you now are empowered and informed to make the right decision for your loved one. Until then, this is Tony Williams from Veterans Council Veterans. I'll see you next week, next Tuesday at 2 o'clock as we sit and continue our march to our conference, serving our elderly veteran. Until then, outro.